have a dream. I have a dream. Welcome to our virtual family that is joining us via Facebook, and welcome to our family on Zoom. We're continuing with our theme, Everyday Wonder, and our topic for today is Embrace the Now. I have a morning funny to start with. A couple is sitting in their living room and they're sipping wine. And out of the blue, the wife says, "I love you." "Is that the wine or is that you talking?" asked the husband. "It's me," says the wife, talking to the wine. This is an opportunity for us to embrace the now. And, you know, I offer this little funny in the context of a secular setting, because we have a tendency to try and divide our lives into spiritual and secular, work and play, and the various other categories that we encounter along the way. But embracing the now, as will unfold in this talk, is about having an experience in this now moment, recognizing that this is the only moment that we have. This quote from Ernest Holmes in Lessons in Spiritual Mind Healing says, "All ideas are formed in the present, since there is neither past nor future to reality. All of our ideas are formed in the present, because there is no past or future to reality." Too often we take life for granted and move through it on autopilot, or we may sleepwalk our way through life, or it just passes us by. When we aren't fully present for our lives, we miss out on life itself. Awareness and appreciation of wonder can only happen in the now. Everything, absolutely everything, is happening in the now, for there is no other moment. This weekend, we celebrate the 93rd birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And this is a time for us to acknowledge the work that has been done, and also at the same time commit to the work that still needs to be done to eradicate injustices around the globe. You know, our history books read as if Dr. King's focus was primarily on the civil rights of Black Americans. He sought, however, to recognize and address the intersections of all human forms of oppression. King stated, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality." Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, because we're all in this together. We're caught in this inescapable network of mutuality. And this calls us to recognize that there are people of marginalized identities who are still suffering from oppression and harmful powers. Marginalized identities include, but are not limited to, race and ethnicity, LGBTQI plus individuals, people with different abilities, immigrants, low-income folks, and the list goes on. Embracing the now, we are invited to recognize these injustices and see that they are all intertwined for the benefit of only a few. Only a few are benefiting from these injustices. And so by acknowledging and understanding these connections, we find that we're all trying to achieve the same dream. And that was a dream that Martin Luther King spoke of. And offering this from a Science of Mind perspective, in our Science of Mind textbook, Dr. Holmes writes this in under the heading, "The Great Awakening." And he quotes this passage from scripture. "Now is the time to awake out of sleep." And this is from Romans 13 and 11. And then he elaborates on this by saying, the belief in a life separate from good, a dream from which we must awake if we are to taste the waters of reality which flow from the source of life. And for those of us who are students of Emma Curtis Hopkins, remember Emma's definition of God is good. This is how Emma refers to God in her teachings and in her writings. So Ernest is saying a belief in a life apart from God or good is a dream that we must awaken from if we are to taste the waters of reality which flow from the source of life. He goes on to say that this awakening is a process of evolution, a little here, a little there, until the whole eye is opened and we see that life is neither separate from God nor different from good. God and good and life are all the same. To awaken oneself is to be healed, made prosperous, happy, and satisfied. To be made every whit whole. To be complete as we were intended to be. God is a God of the living and not a God of the dead. And this expression is one that we use quite often in our Science of Mind lexicon. And it really resonates with me because there's a lot of truth in it. And it says, the universe conspires for our highest good. The universe conspires for our highest good. Life happens for us and not to us. Life is not a series of random events. It is a highly intelligent unfolding, giving us whatever is most supportive for the evolution of our consciousness. And a few points to illustrate this. And the first one is making contact. When each day is the same as the next, it is because people fail to recognize the good things that happen in their lives every day that the sun rises. And this quote is from Paulo Coelho in The Alchemist. Making contact leads to curiosity. And I'll speak more of curiosity in the illustrations that follow, because this is a key part to exploring wonder and embracing the now. Making contact leads to curiosity, the art of bringing our attention and our immediate experience together. Being conscious leads to being present to wonder. And by this, we're transformed by coming into alignment with life. Curiosity is a type of mindfulness practice. And mindfulness brings us into the only moment that there ever was, is, or will be. And that is the eternal moment of now. Life only happens in the now. And I can't stress this enough. Life happens only in the now. If we're not living in the present moment, are we really living? When we are curious, when we wonder, when we come alive and make direct contact with life, this is when our curiosity kicks in. And I'm reminded of an expression that I engaged in and some others engaged in, and some of you may remember this. When inquiring about a specific thing, the response may be, well, you know, curiosity killed the cat, which means that the person really doesn't want to talk about it. And the retort would often be, but satisfaction brought it back to life. So that's another way of saying, clue me into what's going on. And so our curiosity about life ignites itself when we wonder and when we come alive and when we make direct contact with life. Our second illustration is mistaken identity. We have all been conditioned to identify ourselves as our thoughts, their accompanying feelings and sensations. We've been conditioned to resist that which we are experiencing and try to make it different than what it really is. And as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about some areas in my own life where I have been operating under the idea of mistaken identity. I began this year with my word of intention, which is authenticity, remembering my authentic self. And I have different little tools that I use for reminding myself of this on a daily basis, remembering and reawakening to my authentic self. There are masks that we wear, depending on the various stages that we find ourselves in life. That mask may be the mask of partner, spouse, loved one, parent, sibling, child, worker, coworker, boss, interactions with others that we contact with throughout the day. And I would venture to guess that if we all took off the mask, the various masks that we wear throughout the day and throughout our experiences, that those masks could fill this entire physical space that we have, this 11,000 square foot building that we have here in Monterey. I'm sure that if we took off those masks, those mistakes of identity, that we could fill this entire space. Now, there are challenges in life, and often it is our mistaken identity and our resistance that propel these challenges into problems that lead to struggle and suffering. When this happens, we often try to control life or fix it or change it. Again, in our Science of Mind textbook, Dr. Holmes reminds us, here and now we are surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. How much of this good is ours? All of it. We are immersed in and surrounded by an infinite good, and all of it is ours. Not some of it, not a little piece here, not a little piece there, all of it. And this leads to our third illustration, which is to embrace the now with curiosity. Zen teacher Charlotte Joko Beck says, joy is exactly what's happening minus our opinion. Joy is exactly what's happening minus our opinion. Embracing the now with curiosity is that opportunity to turn toward experiences and challenges, to be curious about them rather than try to distract ourselves from them or to change them. Curiosity enables us to be present with what we are experiencing before we think about it, make up stories about it, and identify with it. This is where those masks of mistaken identity come in. When we're experiencing a challenge, we stop to think about it, we make up stories about it, and we identify with it. Taking off the mask and exploring and allowing our curiosity to engage into full force, we focus our attention then that allows us to discover and to rediscover our natural inquisitiveness. We remove those masks of mistaken identity. Curiosity creates a spaciousness and opens us to greater possibilities, and things that we may have thought impossible suddenly become possible. Those things that we thought were impossible suddenly become possible. The freedom and joy that we wish to experience comes from connecting with life. And curiosity here is the key to that connection. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Become curious about life. Transform our experiences of it. When we stop trying to fix life and instead become present to our own experiences, we come into alignment with life. And so our conclusion and call to action this morning, I'm reminded of this quote by Einstein, which says, "You cannot solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it. You have to learn to see the world anew." And we're certainly encountering these opportunities to see the world anew as we go through the various phases of this pandemic. Recognizing that something new is coming out of this, something bigger and better that is for the highest good of all of us is coming out of this. It has to be. It absolutely has to be. This reminds me of a story that is often told at Christmas time of a little boy who had been asking his parents for a pony. They lived on a ranch and they had stables. They raised horses and they had stables. So Christmas morning, the little boy gets up and goes out to the stables. And one of his duties was to clean out the stable from overnight. So he's raking through the stuff. He's raking through all of the manure that has occurred over the night. And it seems that it's piled higher and higher this particular morning. And he's raking through this. He says, "There's got to be a pony somewhere in the midst of this. There's got to be a pony somewhere in the midst of this." And so as we are emerging, as we're allowing our curiosity to embrace the new, we are emerging from those seeming problems of life. Quantum physics reminds us that who we truly are is consciousness, and our consciousness makes a difference. When we are that which is aware, we are that which is aware, we are that which is the observer. So rather than using our minds to control life, we can use them to become curious about life. Embracing the now is an invitation to disrupt the inclination to try to change or fix anything. The invitation is to wonder, embrace curiosity, be inquisitive as we explore those aspects of life together and their everyday wonder. This happens in the now. And our discussion questions for the week, and I've asked our tech team to place these in the chat for us and in the comments section on our Facebook page. Our reflection questions are: in what areas of your life do you find yourself sleepwalking? What stories are you holding on to that may be limiting your experience of good? How much good are you willing to experience? And I'll say these again. In what areas of your life do you find yourself sleepwalking? What stories are you holding on to that may be limiting your experience of good? And how much good are you willing to experience? And our affirmation for the week is, I am present with what is. I am open to possibilities. And so I will say this again, and I will invite you to repeat it. I am present with what is. I open to possibilities. And as we open to possibilities, let us pray together. And so moving into the awareness of the all good, moving into the awareness of this eternal moment of now, this creative moment that is absolutely all that there is. I refer to it as the all-prevailing presence of spirit. It is also referred to as the one power, the one life, the one presence. However it is that we recognize this presence, we also unify ourselves with this present by recognizing and becoming aware that our consciousness is that which is an individualized expression of this one life. Each one is living and moving and having their very beingness as the life of God, the life of spirit, and the life of this creative intelligence. And so it is in this place and in this moment and in this eternal now awareness that I speak my word. I speak my word of gratitude for all that there is in this marvelous life. That which I may call good, that which I may see as not so good, that which I may see as even displeasing. It is all a part of the life experience, and it is a part of my perspective. And as I intentionally and consciously change the way that I see things, the things change because I look at it differently. It's the same object. I've only chosen to look at it with a different set of eyes, with the vision of taking the mask off and remembering my authentic beingness as an individualized expression of pure spirit. And as I affirm this truth for myself, I affirm it for all who are present for this particular time, those who are viewing it via technology, via social media at a later date, recognizing that there is no time and space in God, that all things are continually working together for the highest and best possibility for each and every one. And as we live the dream, as we live the beloved community that Martin Luther King speaks of, we recognize and we remember that it is our responsibility to identify and to call forward those places where injustices continue to exist, not calling them out from a standpoint of blame or making someone wrong or making someone feel guilty, but calling them forward into the awareness that I make a difference. My consciousness makes a difference. And so as I recognize these injustices that are taking place, I do what is within my power to bring about change, recognizing that an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And so embracing this eternal moment of now, I declare that all is right and perfect in the world right here, right now. And I speak my word of blessing this morning for each individual that is on this journey of self-discovery, removing the mask of mistaken identity and remembering their oneness with all that there is. I speak my word for perfect health, for right livelihood, for right and perfect experiences in whatever it is that life is inviting us to be aware of, to stand up to, knowing that the universe just says yes to whatever it is that we place into it, using the power of our word. Because our word is a power unto the law, and it manifests what it is that we declare. And so I'm declaring good and only good that comes out of this, whatever this experience is. And for this and so much more, I give thanks, releasing this word into the law, knowing that it is done and it is done well. I just allow it to be. And we affirm this together by saying, and so it is. And I take this opportunity to remind us of the availability of our ecclesiastical team, our ministers and our practitioners, to support you in prayer. And through the use of technology, through the use of the expanded technology, we can meet via Zoom, we can meet via chat, we can meet via other areas of social media. And if you go to our website, you will find a listing of the practitioners and the ministers and our contact information. Reach out to us. Reach out to us. We're here to pray with you and to pray for you. Now is the time to share in our flow of abundance, to share in the goodness of life that manifests in physical coins. And we have an affirmation of abundance that I invite us to share together now. I recognize the presence of God within as the source of my supply. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the uninterrupted flow of abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And it's with gratitude that I thank you each Sunday for the ways that you contribute to and support our beloved community. And on our screen are the ways that you may contribute. You may mail in your donations. The address is on the screen. You may text to give, and that phone number is on our screen. And you may donate online through our secure website. Again, thank you for your participation and contributions to help to support us in continuing to bring forth programs and experiences that expand consciousness and expand our presence in the community, both local and non-local. And as we say good morning to our Facebook family and to our YouTube family, we invite you to return next week. We will continue our theme, Living Everyday Wonder, and our talk will be Question Everything. Question everything. Some of us don't need that reminder. We're doing it now. But I invite you to come back next week and let's explore this maybe from a spiritual aspect that we may not have considered, that gives us permission to question everything. And so we say thank you, we love you, and God bless you to our Facebook community.